Welcome to Forbidden Planet TV. I'm Andrew Sumner and I'm here with the big guy of Titan Comics. Introduce yourself, big guy.
Hi, my name's David Leach and I am the big guy of Titan Comics. In actual fact, I'm Titan's senior creative editor and I work on the Blade Runner range of comics.
And not only do you work on the Blade Runner range of comics for Titan, you've been overseeing the range since its inception, haven't you, big guy?
Absolutely, I've been working on this since 2018. And I worked on it, and issue 1 came out in 2019 at San Diego Comic-Con, almost on the actual date that the first film was set.
Amazing. And the reason we're here is we're going to be introducing the 2025 Blade Runner panel, Blade Runner Comics, A New Era Begins, with our close personal friend Jeff Connor, who's the director of publishing at Alcon. We're going to be cutting into that in a second, but before we do so, big guy, what's your personal history with Blade Runner? Because I know you're, like Jeff, you're a long-term fan.
Oh, I've been a fan of Blade Runner since 1982, when I got to see the sneak preview of Blade Runner at the Shaftesbury Avenue Odeon. I was one of the first people, I think, in the world to see it. It was rushed in the print. It was a subscription only, so you had to apply. I got my tickets. I went along with Ryan Hughes, funnily enough.
Our mutual friend.
Our mutual friend, yes.
And the designer of the Forbidden Planet logo, among many other logos.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. He and I have been friends since we were at school together. So we went to see Blade Runner, and like I say, it was in screen 1 of the Shaftesbury Avenue. It was so oversubscribed with people that the queue went right round the cinema. And when they finished, they were so worried there was going to be a riot that when they finished reel 1, they took reel 1 off, stuck it onto the screen 2 camera, showed it to them, then took it and put it into screen 3. So everybody who queued got to see the film. And from the minute, so the hairs are standing off my arm already, the minute the Alan Ladd logo came and the tree formed, and then it went to black, and then you had the whole, you know, blah, 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 and then you saw the fireball in the eyeball. That was it. I knew I was going to love it. And it was like a religious experience. And I left the cinema, me and Ryan, and we were just like, we were shell-shocked, we were stunned. So I've been a fan of it ever since. You know, I've got the toys, got the comic books and all that sort of stuff. So when the time came at Titan, when it was announced we were going to do it, I basically campaigned to get it. And I said, this has been so important to me my whole life. I want to do the Blade Runner comic. And I was given it. And I'm so happy because I've got to work in a property that means so much to me.
Well, as you know, Titan's owners, Vivian and Nick, always put your personal desires, David Leach, above everything else. So the fact that he curated with Alcon this Blade Runner comic series just for you, I think is a beautiful thing.
It was such a lovely birthday present. I wasn't expecting it, but you know, it was given with such love, and it was the way they wrapped it was beautiful.
Amazing, amazing.
Was, yeah.
In Blade Runner neon.
Now,
of course, the panel from San Diego 2025, it features yourself, and it features Mike Johnson, our pal, Mellow Brown, and Nancy Collins, one of the great current Blade Runner authors.
Absolutely, she's terrific.
And
terrific.
And we'll talk about her in a bit when we come back. But first of all, I think we'll cut over to the panel, which is with myself and our good pal Jeff Connor,
yeah,
from Alcon. So I think what we'll do is take a drift back in time 1 month or so to glorious downtown San Diego, by the bay, by the harbour, and say hello to Jeff Connor. Enjoy. Greetings everybody, my name's Andrew Sumner. I'm the CEO of Titan Comics and Titan Entertainment and Forbidden Planet, the glorious retail chain in the UK. Today we're here to talk about Blade Runner comics. And thank you very much. We'll be pleased to hear that particular round of applause was led by our publisher, Ricky Claydon, who's in the corner here. I'm here to introduce the one and only Alcon Publishing Blade Runner Overlord, my good friend, Jeff Connor, right here.
Thank you. I'm director of Alcon Publishing. We don't just publish comics, we also do art books and original novels. So it's a vast network of content. But today, we're going to have a solutions-based, content-rich discussion of the Blade Runner comics. And we have time for questions, and we'll answer everything, and it should be great. I'm looking forward to it.
Right on, and throughout the course of this panel, you will not just be hearing from the glory of Jeff Connor. You'll be hearing from some of our creators who we filmed some pieces with, Mighty Mike Johnson, the mellifluous Mellow Brown. Can't think of an N-word for Nancy Collins, I'd get one. And the dynamic David Leach. And you'll see them throughout the presentation. But let us begin with Ash and the 2019 saga. This is something very close to your heart, isn't it, Jeff?
It is. Ash was a character created by Michael Green, who helped develop the comic book series so that it would come out in 2019, which is when the first film was set. And for all of you here in the audience, we have Ash stickers. Available only here. Looks great on a laptop, on a locker.
So we'll be giving those away at the end of the panel. No rush, no stampede.
Yeah,
no gentleman and
plenty for everybody. And no, the Ash, following Ash throughout the years has been a great pleasure.
And these are our Ash collected editions, volumes 1 through 3. Beautiful collected editions which are available at the Titan booth, where Jeff and I are spending most of our time, which is booth 5537. And some of you will be familiar with the Titan booth. Those of you who are not, do not go to row 5500, because if you go to row 5500, you will be in the San Diego Bay. So the way that works is, if you have a panel that is around the edge of the hall, it is numbered 55 or something. In fact, where you need to go, so there's no row per se that is 5500. So we're on 5537. The easy way to find us is, you go through entrance door C. There are 2 entrance doors C. Go to the left one of those, and we are immediately on the left as you walk in. And you can't miss us. There's a massive floor-to-ceiling banner. We're a 50-foot booth, and it's Titan, and it's Blade Runner, and it's Conan. We're very easy to find. So we'll see you there if you want to check out any of these collected editions. And actually, I think we've also got some omni-buy, right, Jeff?
That's right. This has been a long time coming. Getting all the comics, every issue in one deluxe edition, oversized. I was going through the proofs of this.
Yeah, let's give it a round of applause. Come on. Beautiful. Ricky Clayton's publishing at its finest.
Going over the proofs for this a couple of weeks ago, I was amazed how it really holds together and just how smart we were all those years ago.
and these guys are pretty smart, I have to tell you.
They're hella smart.
Yeah. Speaking of smart people, let's hear from our pal, Mighty Mike Johnson. Here he is.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Johnson, coming to you from Los Angeles 6 years ago. Great to see you all. Wish I could be there at Comic-Con. I'm asked a lot what my favorite incarnation of Ash is since we've met her in 2019, 29, and 39. And I love her in all her incarnations. I can't just pick one. But if there was one that I could go back and tell more stories of, it would probably be just before 2019, when Ash is a Blade Runner in her prime, but she's also selling replicant parts on the black market for cash. I think that introduces all sorts of moral quandaries and opportunities for diving into the underbelly of LA, that there are a lot more stories there to tell. I'd also love to meet Ash in 2009, when she's much younger and making her way essentially as an orphan on the streets of Los Angeles, and learning those skills and that sense of the streets that she refers to later in the series, but seeing how those came about, kind of her origin story. One of the things comics can do in all sorts of areas is expand upon things you've seen in other media and tell stories you wouldn't necessarily get on TV or in the movies, given how much they cost to make. So it's just been a blast playing in that sandbox, introducing a character like Ash, introducing other Blade Runners, other replicants, and also playing with the ways in which Blade Runners and replicants can interact. Obviously, in our story, we have a Blade Runner falling in love with a replicant, but we get to see more of how that plays out in their lives over the course of years than we could in a movie or a TV series. So just a big vote for comics as a storytelling engine. And obviously, you're all here at the biggest comic convention in the world, and that's proof of that. So thank you for reading.
Good on, well done. So then we're leaping into the world of, I no wonder I can't read my legs, origins with Tell us about Origins.
Yeah,
This is dear to your heart, I know, Jack.
Well, the idea for Origins was we're all in this '09 or 9 ending name numbering system, was to go before 2019 to the beginning of the Blade Runner division, how that might have come about. And Mellow Brown came with a great pitch for it, and it was an area that was fertile for us story-wise. And then, like the Ash Saga, this goes on until around 2039. So it's a full story. Origins 2, which we call Cascade, will be debuting a little bit later. So there's a lot of content there from Mellow. And he's really a remarkable writer. I think some of the issues that he got into with this series are really, really fresh.
I agree completely. He's an incredibly talented guy. And let's see a bit more art from Origins. Beautiful art in this series.
He was here last year, but he's now living in Tokyo.
Our man Mellow Brown. So do we think? Well, fingers crossed. We're either going to do this and you'll hear the audio, or the old school, the mic again. So there's the man himself. There's our pal, Mellow Brown.
Hey everyone. Mellow here. And I guess here to talk about what brought Blade Runner back into these prequel series and the origin series, and why we even wanted to go about it as we start to move Blade Runner, the franchise itself, into the future. And a big part of that is kind of having a conversation as to explaining how that world is what it is and how it isn't very different from the world that we currently live in. It's a lot about like the humanity of these characters, how they kind of got locked into this moment. What were the things that kind of brought them to where we see them within the series? Some of that being like how we actually see Deckard be this individual who is very conflicted by the end of the movie as he's going on this noir that is sort of picking apart who he is as a person. And we see that from the beginning with Agent K, or Agent K is a Men in Black character, with K in 2049, as he is sort of slowly deciphering who he will be and how much he may matter. And he starts to discover that the things that he does matter more than him being this special like legacy character. And we wanted to define that. How did we get here from the beginning? And a lot of that is about what created the Blade Runner program. The Blade Runner program is a particularly evil program. And every Blade Runner that you see is in some level a villain. They're absolutely going after replicants who are just realized people who are discovering their own identities in the process. And Blade Runners are, to be quite honest, the slave catchers of people who are discovering that they are freed. So having this whole organization kind of built around these particular characters, one being Cal Moreau, who is someone who is the exact opposite of who you would think would be a Blade Runner, and him being the very first one, and how that actually sets up the universe so that way you can understand Blade Runners a bit more as you go into it. That I think my favorite thing about the Blade Runner franchise is that whenever you see a Blade Runner, they are either retired or you're watching the story of their last day. It is the moment where they are just like, maybe I should be throwing the brick through the cop car. Maybe I should be on the other side of this. Maybe I need to repent for the things that I've done. And they start to discover their own identity because they are not that different from replicants as being tools of a company. And so sort of showing how those lines got blurred, showing that there's always been a resistance kind of bubbling up, showing that this is a war that, while it may seem cold to some people, is very hot when you're right in it. That is actually more of a battle of intrigue and espionage and people's beliefs. And these shootouts and their fistfights are actually larger conversations about identity in the process. which is why Blade Runner is a franchise that's more of a slow burn, where it's people trying to figure out where are you in that process right now? Are you on my side or theirs? So, yeah, that's always been my greatest passion when dipping into Blade Runner Origins and 2039 and Tokyo Nexus and everywhere we've been within this series.
That's all Alcon. And Alcon's a very well-dressed pal now based in Tokyo. Mellow Brown. He's the man. It's great to work with, actually, isn't he, Mellow?
Oh man, those scripts are great. He was, well, to me, a good writer makes their deadlines and doesn't complain too much.
But Mellow is, in fact, very strong-willed, but he does make his deadline. So on to Black Lotus then, Jeff. What can you tell us? Black Lotus.
You know, the Black Lotus, I'm so into the character of Elle. I know the anime may have been divisive with certain people. Didn't find the audience required, but I thought the Elle character was just great. She's a waifu of mine, I have to say. And so the comics continue her storyline. They begin like 5 minutes after the last frame of the anime. And it's her journey into the desert. You know, she's leaving Los Angeles. There's a hit team after her, and she's having adventures with these scruffy desert communities. And that's the first series with Enid Ballum art. He had some health problems, and we had to switch artists. So the next series is with Jesus Rivas, and that finds Elle in irradiated Las Vegas and dealing with the replicants that still live there. And they happen to be service replicants who are cosplaying ancient Egyptians, ancient Romans from the themed hotels out there. And so she has adventures with them. And it's a really fun series. That's being scripted by Nancy Collins. And speaking of scripts, her scripts are so detailed. She has all these visual references. Every script that she does really is like a method screenwriter, scripter. And she's great to work with. I've known her for a long time.
Yeah, and the other thing I would mention is that the Black Lotus Collection, Edition 1, which has some of the Enid art in it, right here.
This is it.
That's available at booth 5537. And also, Enid's at the show at his own booth. So, pick it up and he'll be very happy to sign it for you. Okay, should we hear from Nancy, Jeff?
Yeah, let's see what she has to say.
The main difference really between anime and traditional comics is the fact anime moves. Anime moves, but anime has a soundtrack. So in comics, you have to rely more on the illusion of movement, and everything has to be the character development has to be done through dialogue and set direction and stuff like that. The idea with Elle is that she's physically an adult, but she's very much like a newborn in this world. She knows things, but she doesn't know why she knows them, and she has a lot of muscle memory. But basically, she's going out in the world to try and find out if there's more to it than her life than being a tool, a weapon, and trying to find out where she fits in and can she fit in into both either human society or replicant society, or a combination of the two.
The second series that started soon.
Yeah, and it sounds as Nick, the founder of Titan Comics, our owner, Vivian Chung and Nick Lando, often say to myself and Ricky, there's more to life than being a tool, right? So we've got some lovely Black Lotus art. We've seen all the Black Lotus art here. There's a few more. These are the covers for the. Look at these. Isn't that beautiful stuff?
They're a lot of fun.
And a lot of beautiful artwork. Now, a good friend of all three of us here, and Hannah, who's filming for us, is our editor for Blade Runner across the entire estate of Titan. And he's a very well-known English comics professional called David Leach. And before we hear from David about the artwork and how he came to put these art teams together. The thing I would urge you to check out, and this is easy to find online, is David had just produced the graphic novel of his self-published, semi-biographical, semi-cosmic story, David Leach Conquers the Universe, that charts 30 years of his life as a comic book professional against a ridiculous and not in any way accurate or truthful backstory. And I completely recommend it. It's a work of vision and genius. So that's David Leach Conquers the Universe. Check it out online. And let's hear from the man himself, David Leach.
Hello, San Diego 25. This is David Leach. I'm the editor of the Blade Runner range of titles that Titan publish. I've been the editor of this since the very beginning, and I've spent the last 6 years of my life working on it. As you all know, when the first Blade Runner title launched in 2019, it marked the actual year that the film was originally based, which I have always found a wonderful piece of synchronicity. Right from the word go, as the editor, one of my ambitions was to give the Blade Runner comics a completely unique feel. I wanted them to be unlike anything that you normally get in comics. And that's not to denigate comics at all, because I truly love the damn things. But I wanted artists who weren't just superhero artists. I wanted artists that could do backgrounds and environments just as well as they did anatomy and figure work. And I went out of my way to try and find European artists. I wanted, because I felt that they're the ones that had that sort of unique flair when it came to their artwork. And I was so lucky that right from the word go, we had the fantastic Andres Guinaldo, who worked on 2019, 2029 and 2039. He really sort of set the benchmark by which I wanted all the other artists to follow. After him, we had the similarly fantastic Fernando Dagnino, who came on board to do Blade Runner Origins, and his work was just sensational. There would be times where I get artwork from him that just made the hairs on my arms stand up. He was just glorious. We followed Fernando with Enid Ballum, who came on board to do Blade Runner Black Lotus, and as you all know, Enid's gone on to do phenomenal things for Marvel now, but his work brought a real unique and exciting energy. He was also the first artist not to be from Europe. He came from Mexico, so he was different, but he also was spectacular, and I adored the work he did. Then following that, we had the wonderful Mario Talbot, who's now working on Blade Runner Tokyo Nexus, and he brings yet again another completely quirky and unique style. And I've always thought that it was important the artist not only could do the anatomy but also give the environment. I wanted it to have a personality. I wanted it to sort of feel, because Blade Runner is so much more than just the characters. It's the world that they live in, and I think it's the world that we all love. Weirdly enough, we all love the idea of living in a practically destroyed Earth with robots running around killing each other. It's a world I know I want to live in. Anyway, I want to thank you all for your continued support. It's been a wonderful series to do, and I've been absolutely honoured to have been a part of it. Something which I've loved since I was 19 and I first saw Blade Runner at the cinema at a sneak preview. So enjoy what we've got coming up, because the next set of books is going to be fantastic.
Joy and wonder to work with. We've been working with him since the very beginning. He's been great, and he's right about sourcing the artist. You know, this is a comic that's like heavy metal with the stories you understand. And
he's absolutely wonderful. I'll tell you a little anecdote about David Leach. So when he said it makes the hairs on my arm stand up, that's really no mean feat, because David's extremely hirsute. And when he was an editor at Marvel Comics UK in the 80s, they needed to find somebody to play Wolverine on a cosplay shoot on the roof of the building. And David did play Wolverine in a costume shoot on the roof of the building, but a slightly different Wolverine to normal. Actually, David's height is pretty much like Wolverine's height in the comics, not the Hugh Jackman version. He's a bit girthier than Wolverine, and was almost blown off the roof of the building while posing for camera. Almost lost his life there. And then we would have been cheated of all these great Blade Runner comics, but he lived to tell the tale, and he is a wonderful human being, and he would very much like to be here with us. And Jeff, I know, would very much like him to be here with us.
I really held out. I went into the panel without David, and this is how they tricked me.
So what else have we got? Tell us a bit about Tokyo Nexus, Jeff.
You know, people over the years ask us, how are we going to expand the Blade Runner, I want to say franchise, of the world of Blade Runner? And we've done this in a couple different ways. We've gone into the past, the early years of Blade Runner. We've gone to the east, into the desert with El, and we've gone to Tokyo, to Japan. And the Japanese version of Blade Runner is much different than the LA version. They have a different mindset, different approach to technology, but they're still riddled with crime and corruption and noir-tinged stories. So it's really a fun adventure over there. And then rather than having one character, we have a pair of characters, a human replicant duo who have escaped from military service off-world and are now operating an underground private detective service in Tokyo. And they have all kinds of adventures. There's also a rival to Tyrell operating there who are doing their own version of replicants, which Tyrell is not really happy about, and he's making moves to shut that business down. And then they're involved with the Yakuza and all this kind of stuff. So it's really a lot of fun and a new twist on Blade Runner, but still part of the original Blade Runner DNA. And we do design the comics to be in canon. We're not freelancing off. We can't just do the same thing over and over and over. And I would like to give a shout out to the Free League RPG game. If you want that kind of core old school Blade Runner content, that RPG is a great place to get it. They spent a lot of time and attention on their source book, and so there's a wealth of information in there. And those guys are great guys to work with, especially Joe the Fog.
Captain Red, did you skip back to the collected edition cover, please? Do you have this on the booth? Was it not? Yeah. So again, this is a beautiful collected edition. Great. It's a great title for the art. It's right here.
Good
Dying
way to
Beast,
jump in.
right here. Yeah. And it's available at 5537, just to the left of entrance C. We're going to take some questions in a little bit, but just warm you up for this because we've got our mics down there. But Black Lotus #1 on sale in September, right, Jeff?
Yes, that'll run 4 issues, the Las Vegas issue, and then we jump into Nexus, and we jump into Cascade. So there'll be new Blade Runner comics through April 2026.
Well, before we take those questions, can we take a step back and talk about you for a second? Because you've had a fascinating career marshalling and overseeing Blade Runner and the whole Blade Runner oeuvre. Can you just tell us a bit about yourself and,
The terms of my parole prevent me from discussing stuff that happened in the past, but I have been a fan of Blade Runner since, actually before the film came out. I was friends with people who were working on it, so I'd read some scripts before it came out. Of course, I'd read all the PKD books, so it was a big thing for us. And just, being a fan throughout the years and having the opportunity to come into Alcon to originally to sort of be their Yoda character about continuity. And then I said, hey, maybe we should do some comics and get into some other stuff. And then, that sounds all right. And that's how I hooked them up with Titan. Both of our companies are smaller, family-driven boutique outfits that prize quality over quantity. And so it's been a good fit ever since.
Yeah, thanks, mate. I mean, we're absolutely in lockstep about that. And the sanctity of Blade Runner and the importance of not getting it wrong, I think, is something that unites all of us, right there.
Yeah, I think so. And, being a steward of the, I don't want to say franchise again, but of that world, I take it very seriously. And David Leach is probably even more serious about it. So it's been a wonderful working relationship. And I would like to interrogate you guys about, more stuff we should be doing, where it could go, maybe different formats. Should we be doing webtoons? Should we be doing verticals? Do original mangas? Or more original graphic novels? Do they need to have superstar talent, or can the franchise itself be the star, and we can just use emerging artists or emerging writers? This is all stuff I want to explore. And we have so much artwork now, all these great covers and all that stuff. I mean, we should be doing more with it, in my view. Where's the trading cards? Where's the posters? Where's that sort of stuff? So I put it to you, make it happen.
Well, we're always trying to do cool things with Blade Runner. Do we have any questions, please? Yeah, please just, sir.
Yeah, okay. Question. I think first thing that attracted
Actually, would you mind talking on the mic so that we're right? So we can capture your fine vocals for the record.
you know, I've been reading comics since I was a teen. So the first thing that captured me was, the covers and, the replicants and the whole history. But it introduced me to a whole world of different artists from Europe, right? And so emerging artists, the detailed background, the quality of your books compared to the other, not Marvel, DC, but the other independent is a little bit top notch. Also your Conan books, there's a difference. There's a difference when you pick up a Titan book and you compare it to all the other independents. There's a difference in the quality of the artwork, the backgrounds. So keeping that quality is difficult. So if you can continue that in all titles, that would be great.
Well, that's very, very kind of you.
Yeah, how nice of that.
Well, great.
I think it speaks to the level of craft that Titan pursues, and that craft is coming out more of Europe than in the States, where things seem to be more pinup based.
We're going to have a chat when we were done, mate, all right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, like David said, the city, the environment is as much a character of Blade Runner as the characters themselves. So having the ability to really create those environments, do the buildings, do the atmosphere is really, really important. And finding artists that can do both and do action and tell a story is kind of tough. And I think having the same creative team through all of the Ash Saga books, I mean, that's 3 years uninterrupted. It doesn't happen that much anymore, and I think it's a real accomplishment, if I do say so myself. I think there's a lot of areas still to be explored in Blade Runner. It's an interesting sort of alt history world where they have flying cars, but they don't have cell phones. They have holograms, but they don't have widescreen TVs. What's going on there, and where is there a military? Whether having military actions off worlds, or are these corporations sort of fighting amongst themselves using replicants to do it? What's the role of religion? The monetary systems never really been explained. There's some politics in the shorts that were leading up to 2049 that talk about the government, but I think, to me, that's interesting stuff.
Anything else? Yes, sir, please. Oh, good man.
So it seems like technology today is finally catching up with sci-fi. And so there's a lot of things going on in AI, and a lot of people question like consciousness, and it's starting to show up in a lot of different franchises. So I'm really curious how some of these new technologies like AI are influencing where Blade Runner might go next in terms of sort of leading the thought leadership in that space. And, how's that influencing the art?
I think more could be done with the Joy characters, the digi geishas and digital companions. I mean, that's happening now to good and ill, apparently. And I think that was Denis came up with that and was very, very smart. So that's an area that I think people would really explore. And like you said, it's happening now with the AI friends that are luring kids into suicide, perhaps. But also making sure that your grandmother doesn't get bored and has someone to talk to. In terms of the other, I wish there was more technology around the environment. Why can't the replicants fix the environment for us? They're so damn smart and strong.
Thank you.
I would like to second what the first gentleman said about the quality. And then I have a couple of questions. I mean, but the quality of the whole line just really stands out. The art, the production, the publishing, the printing, the writing. But I came to Titan Comics from Blade Runner in 2019. And, I've had it on my pull list ever since and added titles. But I was going to ask you a couple of questions. Number one, I didn't know about Black Lotus until it ended up in my sub box, because anything Blade Runner goes in my sub box at my comic shop.
You're a very wise man, sir. I wholeheartedly endorse that course of action.
Absolutely.
And we're happy to take credit for Titan's success.
And and then my son, my teenager, said, "Oh yeah, that's an anime." So was the anime first, or was
The anime was first.
Okay.
And I'm actually interested in doing a fumetti version of the anime, where we can, because the artwork is beautiful on the animes. When they're just standing there, look great. And taking just frame pulls and condensing the story into a graphic novel is something I want to pursue. It's like that show is in Windows protection, and this would be a way to get it out there.
Well, and then you mentioned like all the other things that you might expand to, and I would say yes, 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 and yes, because Blade Runner fans, we want more Blade Runner material, and we gravitate towards your comics and material that you do. The in-between times before, if there ever is another movie or whatever, you keep us going, so I definitely want to say thank you for that.
Oh, thanks so much. That was the intention of the series.
Thanks so much. Can I ask you one more question? Well, I ask you a question. Of the Blade Runner that we've done, what's been your personal favourite arc and creative team?
I love the Origins. We were talking about Origins, because that came out of nowhere. I had no idea. I don't really follow the media, so much as what's coming out and what's not. My comic shop just knows that, oh yeah, he wants Blade Runner. Anything Blade Runner will end up in there. So when that came out, it was a surprise for me, because I wasn't following what was up and coming or whatever, and I really enjoyed it. Also Black Lotus, that was amazing. But the saga of Ash, just keeps me coming back. And are there going to be more? Is there going to be 20?
Ash actually shows up in Origins, so that the character isn't completely off stage, but we feel that her story has been told. And like you said about the quality artwork, that's why I was so happy to have an oversized premium edition. It's right there, you don't have to get anything else. This is the one, pride of place, and something that really...
I don't have to go digging through my boxes again to pull them out of it. It'll be on the bookshelf, right there, easy to have.
This is the one to get, and so eventually we'll do them all in these editions. I'm a big fan of these oversized editions.
They're really cool, and they're beautifully done. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Anyone else? Any final questions? Yes, sir.
Do you think you'll ever do video games again? I know there came out one like a long time ago.
Yeah, the video.
You can play it now, but like that's been the only one.
It's not my lane, as it were. I'm very good friends with the guy that runs the video game division at Alcon. And there was one that was going to be with Annapurna, and then they went out of business. And there was one with another company, and then they went out of business. So it's been kind of, the best video game is the RPG from Free League, but we're definitely pursuing Blade Runner video games. And it was our initiative to remaster that original game and bring it up to modern standards. And it's done really well. But it's a dated game, it shows its age. So, but it's definitely, we're pursuing that as best we can. But the video game industry is kind of having convulsions right now to a certain extent. So we're outside influence. We don't have anything to do with it. But yeah, we definitely want to do that.
That's great, Christian. Thank you. Sir.
Yeah, I enjoyed this panel.
Thank you.
I saw Blade Runner when it first came out, and then I saw the director's cut so I've seen Blade Runner twice in the theaters. I've never watched it on video. And I made it a point not to watch the remake of it. Because in my mind, the thing is sort of like a sacrosanct period of when I was that age, and I'd never seen anything like that. This sounds like a lot of fun to try to get back into that universe. And I was never a fan of graphic novels until probably 10 or 15 years ago, and my daughters all did not let me not read their mangas. So this looks like a lot of fun. I wanted to just make a comment and thank you guys. I don't want to be old and old school, but this looks like a good time.
April, I love old school. I love what you're saying, and I have to say, I think Jeff and I might have different opinions about this, but my personal favourite version of Blade Runner is the first one I saw when we had it opened, which is the opening cut with the voiceover. That's still my preferred version, you know. And I can see the mastery of the final cut and all that kind of stuff. But if I choose to watch it, I always watch the original version. That's a good moment to go out on. You can check our entire Blade Runner catalogue at titancomics.com, and you will see where you can find us very easily on all social media channels. You can come and see us at booth 5537. Like I said, you'll be in the harbour if you go to 5500. Please don't do that. Although it's a beautiful harbour. Come to Dorsey, and we're on the left of Dorsey, immediately on the left of Dorsey. And the other thing is, if you've enjoyed this conversation with the great Jeff Connor, if you go to our YouTube channel, which is named after our retail chain in the UK, Forbidden Planet, so if you go to Forbidden Planet TV on YouTube, you will see a whole arsenal of conversations with myself and Jeff and the creators. There's about 9 or 10 interviews up charting the history of this. And if you've been intrigued by what Jeff has to say, he has a lot more to say on YouTube. So I'd come and check us out there.
Try and stop. This QR code goes to Alcon Publishing. There's a link tree there, and it's not just Blade Runner, but the other things we're doing. Oh, and you know, we're just partnered with Titan to do a true making of book on The Expanse, which is a one.
That's a good shout, mate.
Yeah, it's all 6 seasons. It's going to be twice the size of the first art book for The Expanse. It's going to be like a Cinefex article, but for normies. And we're looking forward to it.
And it's a very good point. Our Titan Books division, one of the people who runs it, Hannah Scootmore, is doing our filming today. Thank you, Hannah. Hannah's our events director. We do, if you've read them, any of you, some of the greatest making of books in the world. It's truly great stuff. Beautifully designed, but a forensic level of detail, and I'm sure we're going to do exactly the same thing for The Expanse, aren't we, Hannah? And before we say farewell, a very important piece of business here. Another round of applause for Hannah, who's been filmed before. Another round of applause for the shy and retiring people who and thank you so much to Juan and Genesis and Gary, our Comic Con tech staff, and to all the Comic Con volunteers. Jeff is just brilliant, and Ricky's is just a work hard man, but these guys do all the really hard work. So a round of applause to everybody. Thanks for joining us. Thank you, everybody. And a nice, orderly British style file line. Thank you. And there we have it, the glorious San Diego 2025 Blade Runner Comics panel, featuring a great cutaway from my good friend here, Mr. David Leach, the big guy of Titan Comics. So Jeff did a great job there, as usual. Jeff, the ultimate evangelist for Blade Runner.
Yes,
our mutual
yes.
pal.
Oh, actually, Jeff's passion for Blade Runner is phenomenal. It matches mine. I mean, he is sort of like the guardian of it. You know, he and I have spent so many hours discussing Blade Runner lore and canon. It's wonderful. It's one of the perks of the job that we'll have conversation. We once had a conversation with him for hours about how many Blade Runners do you think, not Blade Runners, how many replicants do you think are loose on the Earth? And we're trying to work out a reasonable figure. I know it sounds a bit nerdy, but hey.
No, I love it. I think, as you can see, he's incredible. You know what, big guy? As we continue, just realised we've still got our gags.
Yeah, I thought so too, yeah. I was puzzled by that.
So,
I was waiting for you to say yourself.
Good to keep them on forever.
So we're going to do that whole thing again, aren't we?
We'll just keep it. Yeah, well, let's keep rolling.
Let's keep rolling.
So Jeff, as you can see, had a lot of very positive things to say.
Yeah.
And your working relationship, which I know you found equally fruitful, big guy.
Oh, absolutely. I've enjoyed it. I mean, it's you work with someone for that long, and you know, we have conversations about Blade Runner, but we then have conversations about films that we've seen and that sort of stuff. So no, it's terrific, and I think it all helps. You need a good relationship when you're dealing with license holders, and mine with Jeff I find terrific because it helps that we're both after the same goal, which is to make Blade Runner as good as we can.
I think that is a fine endeavour. And to close out before we go, can you talk a bit about your work with Nancy Collins and what Nancy Collins is actually bringing to the Blade Runner franchise?
Absolutely. Nancy I've been working with now. We're currently working on our third project. So she's currently doing the second series of Tokyo Nexus, which is our Blade Runner set in Tokyo, which hasn't been done before. We want to get out of Las Vegas and Los Angeles and go somewhere different and new. And what she's done on that series has been fantastic. But she's also working with us right now on Black Lotus Series 2, which is just amazing. It's the most insanely unusual Blade Runner comic that we've done so far. It's set in Las Vegas, so it follows her adventures after she escapes from the anime. And in series 1, she was escaping from LA. It was called Leaving LA. Now she's in Las Vegas, and she discovers in Las Vegas that there are 2 casinos that are still running, but there's no humans because it's a radioactive wasteland. One casino is run by replicants who were, when they were humans, ancient Romans, and one set who are ancient Egyptians, and they're at war with each other. And she gets sort of embroiled in this insane adventure. But when I first read the script, my brain was like, this is insane. But then when I read it again, it was like, no, this isn't. This is fantastic, because somehow it really captures the whole idea. So the replicants are using humans as gladiators to fight for their pleasure. So it completely takes the whole idea of Blade Runner and like turns on its head. She is. I love the way that she works. She's such an interesting writer. You know, she brings fascinating elements, because she obviously has a background in horror. So I wouldn't say that her Blade Runner stuff is horror, but there's tinges of the unexpected. There's things that you're not quite expecting within that world. And what I found fascinating with all the writers that worked on it, that they've each brought something unique that's important to them to what they're writing. And Nancy's doing that herself. I'm loving it. It's an absolute pleasure to work with her. I mean, that's not denigrating the others. They're all great, but I'm really enjoying working with Nancy. She's a hoot.
That is amazing. As ever, big guy, I just love your passion for Blade Runner, your passion for what all these amazing creators are doing. And if you want to check out any of the Blade Runner comics that we talked about in the panel that you've just watched with Jeff Connor, with the big guy David Leach, you can just go to the links below this video. They're all available at forbiddenplanet.com. And thanks very much for checking us out. This has been the Blade Runner panel 2025. Put it there, big guy.
Thank you very much.
This bloke came up to me the other day.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
What did he say?
Well.
Hang on.
Oh yeah, that's right.
What did he say?
If you're enjoying watching Forbidden Planet TV and you're enjoying watching us talk to the world's most interesting and accomplished filmmakers, authors, artists, musicians, creators, subscribe right here. See you soon.